Okay, I must admit to you, I am really liking X Men 97. I am 3 episodes in. There's a couple things that people have warned about in the show, directions that people don't like, and I definitely understand. But I will say this sometimes I think we are so hyper focused on a lot of the shortfalls, shortcomings of Disney, and believe me, there are many that we take leaps in our judgment. Now, that doesn't mean that this show doesn't deserve criticism. That's not what I'm saying. Within the geek space, that's another thing I think people need to get used to is geeks have opinions just like anybody else, and not all of our opinions are the same. There might be some people who really do enjoy a thing or two that other people don't enjoy, and there's a lot of debate and a lot of discussions that may seem like arguments. If you grew up in the 90s, you remember debating who was the best superhero, who would beat who, what video game system was the best. You had Neo Geo, you had TurboGrafx 16, Super Nintendo was king at the time, and Sega Genesis that I was a fan of. And people would argue about which one was the best. And it's all opinion. Some of it is subjective, some of it is based on actual facts and data, but a lot of it is subjective. And I think sometimes when it comes to what is liked and what is disliked, we move out of the realm of something that is objectively bad and we go into the realm of the subjective. And I think sometimes we want so bad to be part of the crowd criticizing something that we pile on. Now, again, that's not to say this show does not warrant and or deserve critiques. It does. But now, getting to the show, I didn't think, if you haven't watched it, light spoilers, maybe some heavy spoilers coming. Magneto takes over the X-Men. Charles Xavier has died. It picks up from where the 90s series left off. Episode 2, you see Magneto being brought before a he's going through a trial, and they put on the collar around him, and there was a riot. People are mad that he's even on trial. They just want him to be executed. Whole bunch of things happen. Magneto saves the judges because they were about to be killed by this angry mob as well. And it was a moment where you see reflection of him pretty much coming to grips with the fact that if it was up to him, he would kill all of these people and there would be no more. But he said, you know what? Charles Xavier put it in his will for me to be over the X-Men. So I'm going to accept this challenge, and I'm going to hold myself to his standards. And he shows some goodwill, and he's asking for goodwill in exchange. So episode 3 picks up. That was episode 2. Episode 3 picks up. And what do we see? Jean Grey is a clone by Mr. Sinister. So Jean Grey and Cyclops have a child, Nathan. Turns out that the Jean Grey that had a child with Cyclops is actually not Jean Grey. She's a clone sent by Mr. Sinister so he could get their child. It's a good episode. A lot of things happen in between there. I'm just kind of giving you the brief run through so you can go and watch it. But I thought it was done well. The art was done. They maintain the style of the 90s art. I believe most of the voice actors are the same. I don't think all of them are, but I think most of the voice actors are the same. And it just works. You can criticize the show. There are areas for improvement. But I think, in my humble opinion, I had to recognize while watching it that, this was actually done well. There's, for the moments that people have pointed out where certain things happen, I'm trying not to give everything away. I think some of it is overblown. Now, I am not one to shield Disney from warranted critique, because as I said, there are critiques that they have earned. They have legitimately earned. There's things they've done to a lot of franchises, Star Wars being one of them, Marvel being one of them, that is just, it's crazy. They've really gone in a direction that is far removed from the Marvel that I know and love. So again, not to try to shield Disney from critique as though they don't deserve critique, because they do. But you got to also recognize when something is done well. I hope we don't get into a mode where we're so used to criticizing Disney, so used to blasting Disney, that we blast them even when something is done that's actually good. I think this is one of those instances. If you're on the fence, if you don't know whether you want to watch X-Men 97 or not, I would say if you watch it, you will more than likely be very pleased at what you see.